everybody. I thought that today I would go over my story of how I got diagnosed with ADHD. I know probably a few months ago when I said that I was changing around things on my channel, that I was going to be talking more about like ADHD friendly meals and how to meal plan that way and things. I know a lot of you said, hey, I would love to hear how you yourself got diagnosed and like your symptoms and things like that. So today I thought I would just spend a few minutes, maybe longer, going through basically anything that I can think of, how I even thought about the diagnosis, things I noticed when I was younger, if anything. Hopefully just to give you an idea of what it could look like. And if you are thinking that maybe you might have ADHD as well, that you could go talk to your doctor and try to get that ball rolling. I mean, really, my story is not all that huge and not all that interesting because I don't remember a whole lot of when I was a kid. Just doing research on the symptoms of ADHD in kids, especially young girls, I didn't have a whole lot of those symptoms. I mean, I remember being really quiet as a kid. I mean, lots of people are quiet. I got good grades. I finished my work really quickly. I did get kind of bored every so often, but I was also a huge procrastinator. So with a whole lot of big projects, I would wait until like the night before or even the morning of to get it all done. And I don't really have a reason behind it. I just didn't think it was that important until the due date was right there. And then I would rush to get it all done. It was not always my best work, but I got it finished. Honestly, that's all I remember of my childhood, and I didn't really notice a whole lot in my teenage years. I don't know. But some of the symptoms I have right now are like my leg bounces. Whenever I'm sitting in a chair, one of my legs always has to be bouncing up and down, just letting out all the excess energy. I can be looking at someone when they are talking right to me and I don't pay attention. It's like I don't hear them. I think I am focusing so much at staring into their eyes and like, okay, what's the right amount of eye contact and am I being too weird? I'm focusing on that and I'm not actually hearing what they're saying. I also struggle with short-term memory. So I will walk into a room to grab something and then I'll stop. Like, why was I in here? What am I doing? And then adding things to the grocery list. So if I'm cooking something and I run out of, let's say, olive oil or something, and I'll say, oh, I need to add that to the grocery list. Well, that thought just like flies out of my head as soon as I think it because I don't write it down right away. I am also easily distracted. Like my thoughts go a mile a minute. I could be talking to somebody and try to think of something and then my brain just dies. Like I couldn't remember what I was gonna say. I have a lot of trouble starting and finishing tasks, which is really hard when you own your own business. I mean, I love being my own boss, but I also dislike being my own boss because I'm the only one that I have to report to. And I've noticed this also with a bunch of my interests as well, like video games and cross-stitching and things. I'll start a project, I'll start something really big, like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna do this. And then I'll get maybe halfway through and then realize I don't wanna do it anymore. And then I just stop. I'm also easily overwhelmed. I use this example all the time, but something as simple as emptying the dishwasher. It could seem like just one task, right? But if you think about it, you have to put away all the silverware, then you have to grab all the plates and make sure they're in the right order, then you have to grab all the bowls, and then the cups, and then you grab all the measuring spoons and the measuring cups. You have to walk back and forth. So suddenly that one task is broken down into like 50 different tasks and my brain can't handle that. I also have a lot of sensory issues. Like I don't wear makeup at all because I'm constantly like, touching my face or scratching or whatever. And I know that if I wear makeup, it's just all gonna come off and it's not gonna look good. I also have this issue with like only wearing comfortable clothes. Like right now I'm in a leggings phase. I don't wear jeans. I don't wear anything that could be uncomfortable, especially if I'm going out somewhere. It has to be t-shirts, has to be hoodies, it has to be something comfortable. And here's the thing, I have heard before, people say, well, I mean, everybody does that sometimes. Well, yes, everybody has a little bit of that sometimes, but if it starts to affect you every single day and it affects the way that you live, it might be something more than just, oh, well, that happens to everybody. And that's kind of where my diagnosis journey began. Just I am a huge fan of Instagram and like flipping through all the reels and looking through just all the functions that Instagram has. And I was seeing a bunch of memes about ADHD. And instead of laughing at them, I'm like, but that kind of sounds like me. So in a way, I diagnosed myself through Instagram thanks to all the other people with ADHD posting about their everyday life and, making fun of themselves. It's like, oh, I kind of have all this stuff too. I wonder if this is why I am feeling the way that I am. I dealt with depression and anxiety for a couple of years, and thinking back on it, that could have been just the overwhelm of ADHD kind of turning into those as well. So my first step was I went online, got on Google, and typed in like ADHD assessments. And I found, there's little quizzes here and there, and I took one that I think was one of the official ones, just kind of filled out some things, and it showed that, yeah, it's possible that I might have this specific type of ADHD. So I went to my primary doctor, and I told her all of the symptoms I was experiencing and how I thought that maybe it could be due to ADHD. Now, my first thing that I need to tell you guys is you absolutely have to write down all of your symptoms. Be really specific, because if you go to the doctor and you're just like, yeah, well, I mean, this kind of happens sometimes and I'm not really sure about that, you're not very confident in that. If you have a specific list and you can actually go down and say, this is what I'm feeling, this is how often it happens, I mean, they can work with that a lot better than just not having all the information there. So I told her all the symptoms, and then she referred me to a psychiatrist in our network. So I went to him and listed out the same symptoms. He gave me, actually it was the same questionnaire that I took online. And he looked at it and said, yeah, it's most likely that you do have ADHD. Now, I was never diagnosed as a child. So at first they were like, well, adults don't typically get diagnosed with it. It usually starts in childhood, but it is possible to have like an adult onset ADHD. And I was kind of wondering, like, maybe a lot of this started after I had Allison. It was a huge change transitioning into having a baby, and a lot of these symptoms did start appearing after she was born. So I don't know if I had always had these. Maybe they were just magnified after she was born. I don't know. I'm not blaming Allison for any of this. It's just something that I had noticed. And by the way, the time that it took to see the doctor and then go see the psychiatrist, it didn't take all that long. It was maybe like in the span of a month or so. I know there are some people who have had to wait like at least a year or even more to get in and see somebody and even get a diagnosis. And I am so sorry if that is you. That was not my experience. I was able to get in fairly quickly. So I saw the psychiatrist, we talked, he said, yeah, it's a probability you do have ADHD. So then he prescribed Adderall for me. And he also gave me some resources on how to best manage the symptoms. So it is a small dosage. I am taking 10 milligrams of the extended release, take it every single morning. And there was a really big difference within, I would say, the first week or so. The first couple of days were a little rough, but after about a week, I realized that my morning time anxiety, it was almost pretty much gone. My example of emptying the dishwasher, I honestly would get overwhelmed with having to empty the dishwasher and then I wouldn't do it. But after taking the medication, it kind of helped me to realize that, oh, it's not really a big deal. And I could actually empty the dishwasher and have it not be a big deal. So medication is one of the ways I am managing ADHD. I will say that medication is not a cure-all, because there is no cure for ADHD. You're just gonna have it. And the medication does not cure it. it just helps to kind of dampen the symptoms a little bit, just so your brain can help focus a little better. It is just one of the tools in the toolbox that you can use to help manage things. I also have a planner that I use every single day. And I know it's funny, like one of the things that people tell us is, well, why don't you just get a planner to help keep you organized? Like, it doesn't help everybody, okay? And I know it is really hard to stick with. I own a business, so I need something to help keep all of that stuff organized too. So I do have a planner that I use, and I write down my weekly to-do list, and then I have a daily to-do list, and then just different things that need to happen throughout the day as well. And then that planner also helps me keep track of different things like all of my running miles and just tracking other aspects of my life. So the planner helps me with like all of the weekly to-dos and the things that change from day to day. I also use an app called Todoist, and this is a to-do list app, but I use this one for all of my like recurring appointments or even like tasks. So for example, every Tuesday I wash our sheets, and like every Thursday I'll clean the bathrooms. But I'm not going to remember to add that in my paper planner every single week, right? So this Todoist app will I can set it so that I'll write down every Thursday, clean the bathrooms. So then every Thursday it's going to pop up on that to-do list, and then I can just check it off when I'm done. And that has made a huge difference in helping me remember to do the things I probably wouldn't even do. Like cleaning, I am not a fan of cleaning. And if you come to my house, you might be able to tell there's dust everywhere. But it does help me to remember to do just the basic things. Also, having a morning routine has really, really helped. I do wake up early. I wake up at 4:30 every morning, so I am definitely an early bird. This does not have to be you. If you're a night owl, that's okay. But having a routine every single morning has really helped to get my mind in the right place, to help me focus and to help me have a more productive day. So I mean, it starts with a cup of coffee, obviously, and then reading my Bible and getting a little bit of work stuff done. And then I will, depending on the day, I will do my workout. I usually don't run until after Allison gets on the bus. But if it's early in the morning, I'm not running, I'll do my workout then. And then there's breakfast, there's medication. And then just like, the emptying of the dishwasher and shower, getting dressed. I have all these things that I do every single morning, and I know that if I do all those things, it's going to help set me up for a successful day. And then an evening routine is crucial as well. So things like I'm going to pick up the living room floor every night. That way I can come out and everything is nice and tidy. I'm making sure that all the dishes are done. Prepping my coffee the night before. I've got a coffee maker where I can press a button and schedule it to start brewing at a certain time each morning so that I don't have to do it. That kind of helps with decision fatigue, because the less decisions I have to make throughout the day, the better. So yeah, that is basically what I live with on a day-to-day basis. Now, there are many other people that have a lot more intense symptoms. I do consider myself blessed and lucky that I believe it's just more of a mild case. I know there's a whole lot worse out there, but it still affected me from day to day, and I'm glad that I've been able to figure out what it was and then manage it from here on out. I probably won't be on medication forever. It's just a tool to help me, and then eventually I may end up getting off of it. We'll have to see what the future holds. But if you are struggling with any of these symptoms and just aren't sure if you have ADHD or not, honestly, the first step is to just go to your primary care doctor if you can. Let them know all of your specific symptoms, and then hopefully go from there. I am rooting for you though, no matter what, I promise. So hopefully that has made some kind of sense. I know I was rambling, which when you have ADHD, you tend to ramble, but I'm hoping that gives you a better understanding of how ADHD can work, how I was diagnosed, how I'm dealing with it, and that this is kind of the lens and where I'm making all of my videos. I am seeing this through the eyes of a person with ADHD. Like how can I make these so that people can understand it easily, so they can make these meals easily, so hopefully it will help. Leave me a comment if you have ADHD or if you have other similar symptoms. Tell me what you do that helps you to maintain focus and to help you have a productive day, because I'm always looking for more ideas and I'm sure others are as well. So thank you all so much for watching and for listening. Hopefully it was kind of encouraging, and I'll see you all later.